to this point, we have studied discs. Again, if you look at your cross section, you get the area of a circle. So your disc will be, come on, man, you got this. Your disc will be pi r squared. Why? Because the area of a circle is pi r squared. Then you multiply it by the thickness, which is an infinitesimally small thickness. That's dx, and that gets you volume. And you add up all of those slices, and you get your area. But if it has a hole in it, you must use washers, because you must remove an inner portion, which is what we learned last time. Today, we are learning the method of shells. It's horrible. The method of shells does not follow the pattern. So before, if you had discs or washers revolved around the x-axis, it would be dx. Washers are dy. And then if you're revolving around the y-axis, it's dx. They're horrible. Worst method of them all. But it is often the most useful because a lot of times you can't use discs or washers and you have to use shells. So I'll give you a moment to write down everything that I wrote down on this board. Isn't that cool? Same lesson. I'm on 5 year paying attention because I did a horrible job of teaching this last year.
No, I just need to process this as something.
Oh wait, we were in COVID at this point last year.
Yeah.
Oh, so you taught it virtually.
Were we?
Yeah. Yeah, we were. Wow. That was,
You learned
that was
nothing.
a year ago.
You learned nothing.
No, I learned nothing. But okay.
Remember when we had Bible class and there were 30 people? We're all on Zoom or Google Meet.
Oh, I did not like that.
I like that.
That was not.
The breakout room thing? No.
That was so cool. I love that. I had like 8 computers set up and I was like popping into each breakout.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I
That was
remember
cool.
that.
I remember that.
That
Back in my day.
we didn't even do Bible. I remember, like, not. People, it's hard to, breakout rooms are hard to keep on track. And if you have like really shy people all in. I feel like when you're online, people don't really want to like speak up because they can just turn off their camera, so they're just gonna be like, just wait in silence. And to be honest, half of them probably weren't even on their camera.
They weren't awake. No, they just turned it on and they watched.
Oh, I did that.
That was me during every 8 a.m. check-in.
You didn't have math?
Yeah, I did it one time when we had, because on Wednesdays we had math like before the check-in, and it was one day, like I fell asleep, and so then I was on the couch, and Michael was like, he called on me.
The only class I remember paying attention is this Reuters class because you had to worry
Or
about
else
fail
you failed.
and computer science.
Hers, I feel like,
Because
I just did not have feeling.
I did really well in her class, like towards the end, and I was not cheating. Like I did not cheat at all. in
Right,
her
because
class.
how are you going to cheat on English?
Yeah,
But you'd be like,
and no
oh,
worry.
sorry, I found this. Oh, wait, yeah, you just got oh.
No, we tried. I tried looking up the Think and Discuss questions. They are not on the
I did
internet.
so much research for this.
Yeah, I could have been analyticus.
I was almost, if Mr. Cottenham had come, I was just going to hire her to virtually teach your classes because I knew she would hold you to like the fire in like.
She really challenged me, and then at the end, I was really not proud of myself because that's a sin.
I was.
You guys made great progress last year. How about that? We'll just say that. Okay, so the idea is with this lesson, you are adding up the outside edge of a shell. So your axis of rotation is here, but you are adding this part, okay, of like a cylinder. You're not adding the top, you're not adding the bottom, it's that weird edge. So you get the lateral surface area of the cylinder. It's the perimeter of the base times height, so that's 2 pi r h. So you're adding that multiple times. How does this method help you? Number one, it helps you if you have a hole in the middle because you're only adding those areas that you want. Also, it helps in other cases that we will discuss later, time permitting. So let's start with an easy one. We have the function. That's too easy. Okay. We have y equals x minus 1. It's bounded by the x-axis. and x equals 4, and it's about the y-axis. Okay, so our first step on any of these problems is that you're going to sketch it out. It is quite sketchy. So here is y equals x minus 1. You'll notice that if I revolve this around the y-axis, there will be a hole in the middle, right? Because this is going to go over there. There will obviously be a hole. So I could use any number of methods to do this. I can't use discs because there's a hole. I could use washers, right? This would be my outer washer. This would be my inner washer. So washers is a viable option. If I did washers, what would big R be? What's this distance? Michael? This distance right here? The number? 4. What is this distance, Israel? Well, it is 1 there, but not there. What's the distance from the y-axis to a point? Always? Nice. Okay. So you would do washers. It's the integral of pi big R squared minus pi little r squared. And then since it's about the y-axis, washers would be dy. What is that, 3? Yeah. But we're not doing washers. So all that's wrong. Good review though. I mean, that'll get you the right answer, but if they tell you to use shells, you have to use shells. So how would we do it with shells? I always like to, don't erase it, just leave it there. It's enriching your knowledge. Okay? So, what I like to do is I like to draw out both sides of the shell. So you're going to have your cylinder here, and it cuts through your area with the little edge right there. That's how you want your shell to look. So you want this vertical slice of your shell, or that edge, to go through the area you're rotating. The middle of your cylinder should be whatever you're rotating about. So in this case, the y-axis. Lost? Okay, so what's the formula for shells? Volume equals 2 pi r h. Okay, now here's the trick. Normally, if you rotate around the y-axis, then it's dy. But if you look at the thickness of this, it is dx, because it's a slice this way. dy's are this way. Okay, so this is going to be in dx. So what's my lowest x value that I see? 1. What's my highest x value that I see? 4. So let's plug in all the rest of this stuff. 2 pi. What's the radius of this cylinder? What is that distance? The distance from the y-axis to a point is always, Bobby, x. What's the distance here? What is that quantity called, Michael? From the bottom to the top. If this was x, this is y. Okay, so the last thing I have to do is get everything in terms of x. Do I know how to get everything in terms of x? Yeah. Y is x minus 1. Can we integrate that? Yeah, I'd probably pull out the 2x and then distribute that out, and then you're done. So, if you have a good picture, you win. For these easy problems, it will almost always be 2 pi xy. Until they start moving this like over here and stuff. And then it's over. That's not until lesson 94, so we have time. And by time, I mean 7 days. 7 days? Well, till they get to lesson
Oh, I
94.
thought they were done in 7 days, and I was like, dang.
Well, they have to get to 98, and then we do 104, and then they're done.
Yeah.
They have like, what, 15 lessons left?
How many lessons did Cognite go up to?
We
You
did
went-
like,
Same thing. You went to
Oh, this
98.
year.
that,
I know, you went up to 98, and then you did
104.
This year before we ended?
last year.
Last year we ended, and then we finished the whole book.
This year you did 150.
Okay.
Or 149. I don't think it does
We're gonna
149.
finish earlier than we did.
No, we're gonna finish the same. I think so. Because
also-
you had AP review and all that.
Yeah. But they don't have to, you do.
Wow, you made it through one exam.